My name is Jessica Rufo. I am the proprietress of Dottie's Coffee Lounge in Dorothy's Estaminet. Dottie's is a coffee shop that was transitioned into a cafe serving breakfast and lunch for the people of Pittsfield and beyond. We started 17 years ago. It'll be 18 years in August. And initially, I was just a girl from the Berkshires who moved back home, who had a vision for a coffee shop that would bring community to downtown Pittsfield. And so I kind of shopped around for spaces, and I found this space and basically hounded the woman who was running it because I was very much younger at the time, and she obviously didn't take me seriously. So I showed up every day and I asked her lots of questions and made her lots of offers, and then eventually she couldn't resist me. Space before had tons of potential. I mean, from a business perspective, it was on a corner of a beautiful building. It had a parking lot next door. It was close to a church. It was close to the hospital. So the foot traffic and the positioning, location was very good. But it was also a coffee shop and a bakery. So people were already walking through the doors to get coffee. So all I had to do was teach them more about coffee and the way I like to prepare it. And I did it. I did a really good job. And we made coffee that was beautiful, and I don't want to say precious, but we put a lot of love and attention into the process of making coffee, something that I learned while I was living in New York City from my most favorite coffee shop, Joe the Art of Coffee. They taught me everything I know. Best boss I ever had owns that place, and I'm forever in debt for everything I learned there, because I pretty much took what I learned there and I applied it to here. Pittsfield at the time was having like a big boost with a lot of young people trying to do a lot of cool stuff. It was sort of at the tail end of Storefront Artist Project, and there was just like a lot of momentum, a lot of artists. Because I had just moved back from the city, I had a lot of friends who played music who would come up, and we did like this series of events called Brooklyn in the Berkshires, and you know, it's just so full of heart and love and excitement and energy, and because of that, we got a lot of attention. My intention from the get-go was to build community and be a place where everyone felt welcome. And my plan for revitalizing downtown was like, well, if we open one cool place, then another cool place will open. And then another cool place will open. And then we'll have like the city that we want. I should have ran for mayor back then. And one of the cool places that opened up after I opened up was Mission Bar and Tapas, which we acquired last March. Our staff right now is wonderful. I mean, I started running this place when I had no business managing people or running a business, but I had to figure it out. So, you know, who we were then and who we are now looks obviously very different. The leadership from me is, I think, much stronger and stable. I was just a young girl in my 20s, like trying to have a good time and pay the bills, you know. Back then there was probably like 4 or 5 of us. And now with the new restaurant coming, we are up to 22. But I would say we have been a median of about 10 employees, including myself, for the past, I would say 12 years. When we first opened, we were just the storefront that's 444 North Street. We had about 7 tables in total. a very small footprint, a very small kitchen. 7 years in, the barber shop next door closed, and we scooped it up and we put a hole in the wall. And at that point, I learned a lot about business and how important it is to fill the seats and to have the seats to be filled. We went from a totally struggling business to a thriving business when we made that change. I obviously didn't have an endless budget at 27 years old, so a lot of the initial decorative choices were from Goodwill, and what we could find for furniture, tables, chairs, and all that kind of stuff. We pretty much invested entirely in our espresso machine, which was at the time probably $7,000. And with a lot of beer and pizza, we rallied friends and we decoupaged tables and we painted walls and we made a very comfortable, cozy, homey space. And I think we have continued to keep a lot of those elements while also improving the accommodations. But I think what people really love about Dottie's when they walk in is how eclectic and bohemian and sort of, I mean, I always say it's like going to grandma's house. Like, you're not afraid you're going to break anything, you know, it's just sort of comfortable. It's a little weird, but it's totally welcoming, and that's what matters. Dottie's is having a huge growth spurt right now. It's taken a whole year to get here, but as I had mentioned before, we acquired Mission Bar and Tapas from a local investment group who saved it and held on to it for a couple years for us during COVID. And they were selling it for the right price. We were able to expand our footprint now into 3 storefronts. And we're going to start offering dinner in February, and we'll have 3 nights of music plus music on Sunday brunch. And it is so exciting. I can't even believe it's happening. We thought we were going to open July 4th, so it has been a very long journey. There were personal things that got in the way. There were structural things that got in the way. I learned so much doing this project, but the most valuable lesson was the great fortune of taking your time. We are doing, the restaurant is going to be 103 seats, I believe. So we are so excited to be working in a real kitchen with a dishwasher and a hood, working with fire and a fryer and a griddle that is almost twice the size as the one we've been working on for the past 17 years. But that being said, it's still 103 people. So we're doing a concept menu, which is meant to bring people together and share food. So you'll come in, you'll be seated, and you'll order your beautiful drinks, and then you'll receive a platter that has sauces and spreads and sides and our homemade focaccia. And each individual will order their protein. So it's basically an appetizer that evolves into an entree when you add your protein. It's meant to be shared and devoured by your friends and family. So we're really excited about that. We're also going to have about 4 soups and stews available every single night, 4 salads, and then an entree special and a pasta special, as well as a really fun kids menu. Something that we really had to take into consideration as we evolved from a cafe into a restaurant was this sort of, what people really love about going to a cafe is they don't feel rushed to leave. That, they order at the counter, they pay their bill, they sit down, and they kind of like take their time. They read their book, they refill their coffee. And we love that about Dottie's. We love that, we're a space that people can wander in, meet people, talk to people, do their own thing, work on personal stuff, read a book. And we really wanted to carry that over into our evening service. So we're not going to have tableside service here. We really want people to feel fluid in the space. So, yeah, I think that it's a really unique dining experience in that that we want you to treat this like your home. We want you to create the experience that feels comfortable for you. We're just sort of providing the vessel and the ingredients, but what makes what we do special are the people who come here and how they add to the space. So you can start a tab at any one of the ordering terminals in the space, and it will be carried through into each room. So you can have a cocktail here. You can order dessert over there. You can order dinner from your table on your phone, or you can flag down one of the runners and tell them. So it's a very fluid experience. We're really excited about it. All the food will be delivered to your table. You'll just place your order yourself. Every table will have a table number on it, so you'll be able to tell the person at whichever place you decide to order your table number, and then everything will be brought to you. Drinks, coffee, dessert, dinner. And then we'll have the people who will be delivering the food and drink to the tables. They'll be able to get you additional things if you need it. They'll be checking in with you to make sure that you have everything you need or to answer any questions that you might have. But we're not going to tell you when you have to leave. How has it changed? We've really just grown up together, me and this business. I think my vision has matured as I have. I've learned so much, the way I cook, the way I interact with people. My values have pretty much stayed the same, but the ability to share myself and my wisdom has grown. One of the things that Mission did that the community here is so eager for is live music. So we have sort of set up a music program for the next 2 months, where Wednesday nights we're going to have a DJ, but it's not like ecstasy and sweat DJ. It's more of like a vibey DJ, kind of creating more of a mood experience. On Friday nights, we're having Misty Blues residency for February and March, and on Saturday nights, we'll have the David Bartley Quartet, who we love. David Bartley is one of my most favorite acts that we have at Domingo Brunch on Sundays, and I'm so excited to be able to have his entire band with us on Saturday nights. And then Sunday brunch, which eventually we're going to blow up into a big thing, with like a very specific menu as opposed to our everyday breakfast menu. But that's going to be down the road while we sort of figure out dinner. But we'll continue to have music as we always have on Sundays. The evening show times will be from 6 to 9, and then the brunch music will continue from 10 to 12. The help and support of my entire family, including my husband and my 3 children, and everyone who works here. People a lot of the times refer to Dottie's as Pittsfield's living room. And it's that way because, like I said before, the people who come here, I'm pretty much in charge of keeping the vessel like clean and organized. And what makes Dottie's and Dorothy's feel so wonderful are the people who come here. So that's the we. It's the community. It's the active, intentional people who work here and people who keep this vision alive. I named this space Dottie's Coffee Lounge after my grandmother, who was the light in so many people's life. But I don't know, I had a really hard time naming the place. I wanted it to have a name, and my name was so boring, and Dottie is so fun. Just thinking of who Dottie is, any of us, you hear the name Dottie, whether it's like your spunky dog or like your completely beloved grandmother, it just feels right. And we also, like, that was sort of that is the driving force for like our food. Like, we want to make everything the way grandma would have made it. You know, when I think of what goes on our menu, it's stuff that my grandmother would have fed me, or I would have been proud to feed her. So, yeah, it's the driving energy and the vision is my grandma Dot. And Dorothy's is the full name, right? So Dottie's is like the younger kid nickname, and Dorothy's is the more elevated, sophisticated version. We have murals of her in the space. You'll see them when you take the walk around, and yeah, she's everything. Hi, I am the proud owner of Dottie's Coffee Lounge in Dorothy's Estaminet. We are serving you breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. We cannot wait to see you. Please send us an email at dottiescoffeelounge@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram at Dotties_Dorothy's, or find us on Facebook at Dottie's Coffee Lounge.